Okay, we're continuing to talk about the laws of Kriyas HaTorah. We've been talking about a little bit about giving out of aliyahs, important thing for the Gabai to take into account the different issues. The minhag is that after you call somebody, you call the name, the number of the aliyah comes afterwards. So of course Kohen and Levi, but so and so Shlishi, so and so Revi, Shvi, etc. And if you have to call somebody more than the 7 aliyahs, let's say on a Shabbos, so you say Achron or Hosafa, and then as well the maftir, so and so son of so and so, the maftir. It's also important. The Shar Ephraim points out for the Gabai to actually use the real name of the person. What do you mean? Meaning if his name is Elio, so don't call him, Elia, or Yeshayo, Yeshaya, Yirmiyahu, Yirmiyah, or the other way around. Whatever his actual name is, you have to be careful. Eliezer, not Elazar, Elazar, not Eliezer. And sometimes even, the name could be Yiddishized name, or but if the name, that's the name that the person was given, that is their name, so then that's the proper name to call. Sometimes a person doesn't know, or there's a mistake or about what their actual Hebrew name is, but it's important for the Gabai to try to figure that out and to call him by his correct name. Now, it's important, the Mishnah Berurah says, based on the Shar Ephraim, that you should pick out a Gabai who knows what he's doing. Someone who is an honorable person and does good deeds, and people like this person, so that nobody should be choshed. Nobody should think that the Gabai is giving aliyahs to this guy for politics. This one because he's rich, or this one because he's important, or because he's his friend, or whatever. You should think that he's doing everything l'shem shamayim, that he's giving out things appropriately and properly. And therefore, you want to get somebody who is a trustworthy person to be the Gabai. However, says the Mishnah Berurah, as well, it's important for the tzibur not to be choshed, not to doubt the Gabai, to give him the benefit of the doubt, and even if he did something that doesn't seem to make sense, assume that he knows what he's doing, and not to go after. It's a tough job. And even if you know that he made a mistake, so you should assume that he made the mistake because it was an honest mistake. Meaning it wasn't that he was trying specifically to give this guy an aliyah and then push out that guy and do something not nice. Assume that it was done honestly. And even, says the Mishnah Berurah, if you know for sure that this guy, you're convinced, right, that the Gabai didn't give me an aliyah because he hates me and because he's being angry at me, and I said something to him, so therefore he rejected me, and that's true. Says the Mishnah Berurah, nonetheless, you should be somebody who is very careful to be maver al midosav, meaning you should say, so big deal, I didn't get an aliyah, big deal. You should just let it go. He says, it's kal v'chomer, meaning if you, you're worried about your honor, you little person, your honor is so important, and you get angry when something happens. So what about whose honor is going to be disgraced if there's a fight in the shul and there's a disagreement, an argument, and things go on and there's a big fight? Whose honor is disgraced? Whose house is this? It's God's house. This is kal v'chomer. You should be careful. You're careful about your honor. You should be careful about God's honor, and therefore be somebody who's not going to get in a fight. The Mishnah Berurah continues and he says, and if somebody doesn't listen to this advice and he gives the Gabai what for and he behaves in an improper manner, so the Gabai should respond also by being somebody who's ma'avram midosav, who should be forgiving and just let it go and not cause any type of fight or not do anything. Because he says at the end, anybody who's wise, acts with knowledge and wisdom. And that the best thing is not to let there be machlokas. There shouldn't be fights and publicly. And a lot of times, something happens, whatever, so you figure out a way to nicely, gently talk to somebody afterwards and you figure it out. But to have a whole big, to-do in the shul, that's always a lack of kavod. It's always the wrong way to go.